Okay, so for our third segment of the show, I talked about this on my second video of Matt's World. That's also on YouTube.
Check out his channel.
Yep, on my channel. Also go to Facebook. Check that out too. That's on my Facebook page. The video I did on Matt's World, the second video I did was talking about UFC 175. The Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei fight was canceled because Vanderlei Silva failed a drug test. Well, the thing is, when you refuse to take a drug test, that counts as an automatic fail. And I said that Chael versus Vitor was in the works for that fight at UFC 175, July 5th. But then I saw a video on YouTube, Vanderlei speaking in Portuguese, explaining the whole thing. He says that it was news to him. He says that the day that they arrived, there was contracts and papers, and he didn't understand English pretty well. He couldn't read in English pretty well. So he said he wanted them to wait till his lawyer came. But then he had to also leave because Renan Barão had a fight, and he had to be in his corner. And Renan Barão, by the way, lost to DJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight title. And then they moved in. They had Vitor come in, and they were going to make it Chael Sonnen versus Vitor Belfort. And Vanderlei explained it, and he says he's going to go to the commissioner. He's going to says he will submit to a drug test. He'll try to clear it up and try to get the fight back on. I was a little shocked at first, because with the whole refusing a drug test. But like I said, I was going to withhold judgment, and I did, and hopefully this fight will take place. I mean, as much as I would love to see Vitor and Chael go at it, because that's also a good matchup. Turns out, but I would also love to see Chael versus Vanderlei, given all the shit talk that they were giving each other. That's the thing. If you ever watch Chael Sonnen fight, like Chael Sonnen, sometimes he talks a whole lot of shit. He talked a whole lot of shit about Anderson Silva. He talks shit about John Jones, Michael Bisping. He's a real shit talker.
I've heard the stories, yes, that he's very much very controversial with his language.
Oh yeah, yeah, he is, and let me just say, for Chael Sonnen, this is Chael, and I said this before in the video as well. This is Chael Sonnen's probably last chance to get a shot at a world title, because he had the shot against Anderson Silva in the first fight. He lost, and the last two times he's gotten title shots, he really didn't deserve it. He was because after the Silva fight, he tested positive for TRT. He had high level of testosterone replacement therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, it was above the legal limit for it, and after that, he was out for like a year and 4 months, and then he had 2 fights back, and then he got another shot at Anderson, which I didn't think he deserved, and of course he lost. And then after that, he moved up to light heavyweight and was given a shot at John Jones. I didn't think he deserved that shot either, but then he wound up getting beat. And then he came back, he beat Shogun in Boston last summer, and then he had the fight with Rashad Evans, and Rashad beat him. So, for Chael Sonnen, this is his last chance. He can no longer talk his way into a title fight if he loses. It'd have to be a long, long time before he ever gets another shot at the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so he better not blow it this time.
Yeah, he better not. And
under pressure.
Under pressure. Yeah, and the thing that I said in the video was that Chael, his striking isn't really up to par. I mean, he's a good wrestler. He's good at wrestling, and he has embraced submissions. Because for the longest time he talked shit about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff, but now he really has embraced the submissions. But if he wants to stand on his feet against either Vitor or Vanderlei, he's gonna get fucked. He's gonna get beat on his feet. His boxing. And his striking is more to just set up for strikes. Chris Weidman to a certain point does that as well. He uses his strikes to set up to set up for takedowns. And against a master striker like Vanderlei and Vitor, that's not going to work.
Not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll have to see. We'll have to see which fight will happen. Also on that card, for those of you who don't know, there's Ronda Rousey and Alexa Davis for the women's bantamweight title. I don't see Ronda losing that fight. I don't think anybody's going to beat Ronda for a while. And also, I have a huge crush on her. She's she's hot, man. Hey, you know what they say about gentlemen, right? Gentlemen prefer blondes, right? Yeah.
You can say that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's some of the blonde guys that attract me too. Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Yep. And also there's Chris Weidman versus Lyoto Machida for the middleweight title. So the winner of that fight will fight the winner of Chael and whoever he fights. And Lyoto Machida, I really want Lyoto to win. The Karate Kid. I've always been a fan of his. In fact, he actually did the crane kick against Randy Couture. I remember that fight too. Like I saw it with a friend of ours, Alex. We were at the bar, and this was the Jake Shields, George Ross St. Pierre fight, and I saw Lyoto Machida. He just did that crane kick, and everybody was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like that too. I was like, "Whoa, that is the crane kick." The no can defend.
That's another good fighter I've seen is George St. Pierre. Oh, yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but one time after a Matt Hughes fight, George St. Pierre went to the cage and he said, "Matthews, I saw your fight and I am not impressed with your performance." And that little French-Canadian accent of his.
Yes.
And after that, everybody was doing that. Everyone goes like, he actually did a parody of it, like he did this commercial where he's working in an office and he's telling the employees who are working and stuff, and he goes, "I am not impressed with your performance."
Yeah. I can believe that working.
Yeah.
Since he tells them that, oh boy, that puts them around their toes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And but the ultimate dream fight I would want to see, after UFC 175 would be Lyoto Machida versus
John Jones.
No, they fought before, but and John Jones actually choked him out. But I would want to see Lyoto Machida versus Vitor Belfort. I think that would be a good fight. Because it's the past meeting the future. Yeah. Did you ever see Vitor back in the old school days of MMA? The old school UFC.
Probably not. No, I don't think so.
Oh, you don't remember Vitor?
I think I wasn't really watching MMA and UFC much until I met Matty. Pretty much, I don't know if I even knew what all that stuff was before. I always knew about like wrestling and boxing, stuff like that. But and I saw the Karate Kid, but beyond that, the Karate Kid movies. But beyond that, probably more of the martial arts stuff I didn't really pick up on until I met Matty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, big fan. And yeah, and the thing about Vitor is like when he first came into the UFC, like this was during the old school UFC when they had like tournaments, and stuff, and they were starting to add some rules, like they were starting to add some rules and stuff, but. He had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but there was no more for his boxing. I mean, he had good boxing technique and actually had a pro boxing match once and won. But Vitor Belfort, man, had he maximized his potential in boxing around 96, 97, he would have given the fighters at that time a run for their money in boxing. He would have beaten Tyson, he would have beaten Holyfield, Lennox. He would have problems with Lennox, but eventually he would beat Lennox Lewis. And Roy Jones Jr., I think he would have knocked out Roy Jones. He definitely would have knocked out Roy Jones Jr. And, Vitor, but now Vitor, he's doing kicks, he's added more Muay Thai to his arsenal, he's become a real well-rounded striker, so that'd be a perfect match, boxing, Muay Thai versus karate in Muay Thai. And, I remember for the longest time people were saying, karate in the UFC, it doesn't work, just use kickboxing and boxing. But then all of a sudden, you got this half Brazilian, half Japanese karateka coming in, and he's just dominating guys, And that's the thing about his fighting, too. It's like... it's kind of like fencing. In fencing, you dart in and out and in and out. That's what Machida does. It's just like he'll kick, go back to the position. He just darts in and out. You can't rush him because if you rush him, then all of a sudden you might wind up getting knocked out. But if you take too slow, then he winds up winning the fight. He winds up dominating. So yeah, that's a fight I would want to see. Vitor Belfort and Lyoto Machida, two former Brazilian world champions fighting for the middleweight title. That's a good fight I would want to see.
Yeah. With that, maybe we should end this segment.
Yeah, we're gonna end this segment and we're gonna do one more.
Okay, stay tuned.
Yep.